Sziasztok! Hi everyone, I'm Sándor. Welcome to another Hungarian lesson. Yep, I'm still in Finland, although I'll be leaving soon, unfortunately. Let's see how you can say sometimes in Hungarian. There are actually quite a lot of ways you can do that, so let's kick it. The default way to say sometimes in Hungarian is néha. Néha. So let's take a sentence which is true for me, and I'm sure many of you can relate. Néha csak aludni akarok. Néha csak aludni akarok. Sometimes I just want to sleep. Ain't that the truth? If you only know néha, if you want to say sometimes in Hungarian, you're good to go. But there are so many other ways. For example, olykor. Olykor. This also means sometimes. It sounds a bit more poetic, at least to my ears. It's not as widely used, although you can encounter it. Olykor csak aludni akarok. Olykor csak aludni akarok. Sometimes I just want to sleep. Derived from that is the expression olykor, olykor. Olykor, olykor. This also means sometimes, but it falls more towards the side of rarely, like on rare occasions. But yeah, this also means sometimes. You most likely find this in writing or in movies and stuff. Olykor, olykor csak aludni akarok. Olykor, olykor csak aludni akarok. Next up is the word alkalmanként. Alkalmanként. This comes from the word alkalom, which means opportunity or occasion. So this word basically means occasionally, but it can also be translated as sometimes. Alkalmanként csak aludni akarok. Alkalmanként csak aludni akarok. I wouldn't really say this. Alkalmanként is a lot more sophisticated than néha. But I would use it in official situations if I want to sound more intelligent than I actually am. Haha, there's another expression which derives from this, and that is alkalomattán. Alkalomattán. This one is pretty much impossible to translate, but this one also means roughly like occasionally or sometimes. Again, it sounds more sophisticated, so in everyday speech I would rarely use it, but you can if you feel like. But again, it's more likely to be found in writing or in official situations. Alkalomattán csak aludni akarok. Alkalomattán csak aludni akarok. Then we have the word időnként. Időnként. It basically means from time to time or at times. But it can also mean sometimes. I would say this one is much more widely used than many other synonyms. Időnként csak aludni akarok. Időnként csak aludni akarok. For me, this sentence has a sense of longing simply because I use the word időnként. Yes, this has a bit of a poetic quality to it, but it can be easily used in everyday speech. No problem. And again, derived from this is the word időközönként. Időközönként. Again, this one roughly means from time to time or at times, but it also means sometimes. It's not as often used in everyday speech. Időközönként csak aludni akarok. Időközönként csak aludni akarok. You can say that, but it looks much better in writing. And here's one which has the word néha in it. And that is néha napján. Néha napján. It basically means on some days. It's just a fancier way to say néha. It's actually used in everyday speech, although not as often as néha. I mean, it makes sense because néha napján is much longer. Néha napján csak aludni akarok. Néha napján csak aludni akarok. It works. People use néha napján. It's just not as common as néha. Then we have the word esetenként. Esetenként. This comes from the word eset, which can mean case, instance, or occasion. So it means occasionally or in some instances, but it can also be used as sometimes. I actually checked this in Google Translate and it immediately said sometimes. Its actual meaning is a bit more subtle, but yeah, this also means sometimes. Esetenként csak aludni akarok. Esetenként csak aludni akarok. Again, this is quite rare in everyday speech, but in writing and in official situations, it's likely that you'll encounter this. And lastly, hébe-hóba. Hébe-hóba. It's a funny sounding expression, it is used in everyday speech, and there's no actual translation for this. It can mean on rare occasions, and again, it can also mean sometimes. And yes, we do use this. Hébe-hóba csak aludni akarok. Hébe-hóba csak aludni akarok. Sometimes I just want to sleep. I personally don't use this. Everyone has their own preferred vocabulary to choose from, but many others do, and it's perfectly fine. This is a sort of playful expression and is pretty widely used. Now, there are a couple of other words I could have chosen, but they fall more on the side of rarely, so they don't quite mean sometimes. Maybe I'll talk about those in another video. But here's a closing sentence for you. Néha fel akarok iratkozni Sándor csatornájára. Néha fel akarok iratkozni Sándor csatornájára. Sometimes I want to subscribe to Sándor's channel. Well, what are you waiting for? Thank you for studying with me today. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe. And if you feel like supporting the channel even more, my PayPal information is in the description. See you in the next lesson. Sziasztok, viszontlátásra!